regulator doesn't have that kind of interest. The regulator can approve it. And that, if they are approved by the regulator, definitely you can use on the aircraft as well. For that example, as a civil aviation sector, even a simple non-airworthiness plastic, I cannot use on the aircraft because it is neither approved by the manufacturer or the regulator. So if you can blend that into that, can I get a certification from the regulator? At least can I meet the regulatory requirement? Then definitely I can use those in the aircraft. As a simple thing, like for the MSMEs, you know that we do not charge air on the wheels of the aircraft. We charge the nitrogen. But that nitrogen what we charge has got some requirement to be fulfilled by the regulator. We find it difficult to, even for a nitrogen supplier. Is it that difficult over here in India to just give a nitrogen to the civil aircraft? No. But the process, people are not aware that they can meet this regulatory requirement and still can supply to the civil and defense sector. This is where it is lagging. This is perhaps where your thought process should start. Then when we are talking about so many things, you have been listening to a lot of, defense offsets and all this country offset. And you know that we are getting people from the OEMs, those who are looking for guys who can invest something and they can put their $100 million into it to give you the technology transfer and build up the system. But people don't come forward. Why? I have been listening from the morning that finance, but there are the guys who are ready to finance you. There is offset, they are bound by the government, they have to do it. And they are looking for people who can support with them. But there are no volunteers coming up. Because there is apprehensive or lack of knowledge or lack of trust, or maybe they are not very clear what they are looking at. One of the guys, I can tell a name, from Israel, he was looking for somebody who can support some of the system so that he can manufacture something here because he has obligations to the government. And he was looking at spending some $100 million. Here, I would say that the MSMEs, the entrepreneurs, please come forward, look into those offset system, that what you can achieve. And of course, there is we as an Indian, we have got a different federal structure where like whatever the parts manufactured by HL, though approved by a different system, still I cannot utilize on the civil aviation sector. We are taking it up. I am taking it up with a different forum, of course. This is not the right forum. Why can't there will be a centralized policy where an aviation, transportation, I approve, that should be applied whether it is going to the defense plane or a navy plane or to the civil aviation or the small NSOP like a normal bolt. Or the plastics where that are non-airworthiness. The carpets of the aircraft. Can't we manufacture the carpets of the aircraft, get a regulatory approval? It can be done. Nobody is looking at that. Everybody is thinking, OEM, I won't get any business from the airlines because I am not getting from Boeing. No, you don't have to. If you meet that regulatory requirement, you manufacture that carpet, based on that, it can be installed on the aircraft. I don't have to go to the Boeing for that. But right now, just a week back, I was in Seattle taking the 787, and I was like, feeling myself overwhelmed when I saw all the floorboard beams of 787 are manufactured in Nagpur. All the smoke detectors inside the aircraft are manufactured in India. But we don't know. But there's people, those who know, they're doing it and they're reaping the benefit of it. If the entrepreneurs, the MSMEs come forward, look into that area, there is somebody who can going to finance, there is an offset of the most of the dollars which can come into India, the technology transfer, it can happen. It's not that it's not going to happen, it can happen. So I won't take much of your time. I know we are running short of time. So whatever the simple thought process, I expect everybody to take the quality standard to that level. It is sometimes depressing when you see abroad and you find, I don't want to say, but you can find that all your neighboring countries' textiles are being sold, but not made in India. What is that we have lost? We are the pioneers in the textiles. Why did you lose it? What made us wrong? Point for thinking is the quality. We were not able to meet the standard quality of those requirements. Whether it is a EU or USA requirement, we are not able to meet. That's why we are losing. Perhaps these are the points as an MSMEs we must start thinking. And there is an opportunity with 1% penetration of the people who are flying now, when it is going to double like 2%, 3%, you can imagine what is the number of planes coming to the India and the civil aviation sector and where this aviation sector is going to grow. This is one of the sector, you know, certain countries I don't want to name, but their whole economy is based on the aviation sector. The whole economy. Look for Dubai, what is there? Look for Singapore, what is there? They bank on the complete aviation economy. The aviation is going to be a challenge. It is the aviation sector who is going to get the boost. And rightfully, the PMO, the focus is there, and they are working on this as well. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I don't want to take much of your time. Thanks for your attentions.
Thank you, audience, for your patience. A very long session of almost 2 hours. I think our panelists have contributed a lot in terms of the inputs on the opportunities for MSMEs in defense sector, MRO, and civil aviation sector. They have highlighted the challenges, which are many, besides the opportunities. Challenges in terms of technologies to be adopted, specialization of personnel, skilled people required, quality assurance, funding, etc. What I would suggest is that anybody, any entrepreneur, any MSME who wants to get into the defense sector or civil aviation sector, they need to have a long-term commitment and passion for this job, such business, such commercial activity, not only looking for quick gains or quick returns in terms of monies. I'd request the BCCI to be a launch pad and center of excellence, which they're already planning and working towards it, to facilitate the entry of MSMEs into these two sectors we discussed this afternoon. And I'll also request BCCNI to organize visits to various MRO facilities, infrastructure, production centers, and agencies all across the country, be it the Air Force, Army, Navy, shipbuilding facilities, and of course the civil aviation maintenance MROs. And I think we also need to work, especially the BCCNI, to convince the state government to set up a defense production corridor in the region, for which I think the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry is already carrying out some research and studies. At the end, I'll request that we applaud the speakers for having contributed very effectively in this panel discussion. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, A.C. Raha. Now, may I request our team, Mr. Raha, may I request Mr. Raha to present the memento to Mr. Aniruddha Chakraborty. A.C. Raha to Mr. H. Jagannath, please. A.C. Raha to Mr. Shekhar Srivastava. A.C. Raha to Air Vice Marshal S. Barade. A.C. Raha to Dr. Ajit Chakraborty. A.C. Raha to Mr. S.K. Dash, sir. A.C. Raha to Mr. Harihar Das, GRAC. And last but not the least, may I request Mr. Deep Kumar Basu to please come on the dais, please. I request Mr. Basu to present the token of appreciation to our moderator, A.C. Arup Raha, please. With this, we end our session on defense and aviation. Now we proceed to the next session, which is on the Leadership Forum, Evolution of Renewable Energy, Industrial, Leather Industry, and Engineering Industry in India and West Bengal. We have the session moderator, Dr. Siddhartha Das from the IIT Kharagpur, and the panelists we have Mr. Shamujjwala Ganguly, the CEO of Chloride Power, and Mr. Jagdish Gulati, the President of Indian Leather Association, ILPA. May I request my team to make the necessary arrangements, please? May I request Dr. Siddharth Das to proceed for the session, sir? Dr. Das, please. May I now request the panelist of the session, Mr. Shamujjwal Ganguly, the CEO of Chloride Power Systems. And last but not the least, Mr. Jagdish Gulati, the President of the Indian Leather Products Association, ILPA. I request all our delegates to remain seated. May I now request Dr. Das to take the proceedings forward? You can use the podium.
Thank you, Romit. I have been requested to conclude the session within 20 minutes because we are running hour and a half late. So I request my distinguished speakers to keep their lecture within 8 minutes if possible. And I will give you a gentle reminder at the end of 6 minutes. Okay. I will be very brief. This morning we had a session on electric vehicle. It is easier to make cheaper batteries, higher capacity batteries. But my question is where the power will come from. You want to reduce pollution in Calcutta, you are going to increase the pollution in Titagarh or Kolaghat because most of the power supply in India are fossil fuel burning. So that's a major concern. We always talk about e-vehicles, how to charge the battery, how fast or how soon the charging facility will be available, but we don't talk about the main source of keeping this battery alive, that's the power source. That's where my first speaker is going to talk about the renewable energy. And the second thing, if you look at the MSME sector, you always talk about the business are fleeing Calcutta, nothing is happening in Bengal, but if you are very careful, you see a lot is happening nowadays. Calcutta is probably one of the biggest high-end leather goods manufacturing hub in the world. If you see, there are many manufacturers in Calcutta who makes goods for international brands which go outside India and we buy back at a very high value in India. And I can't name those brands, but we make all those things. The problems are there are smaller sectors in the leather industries where reproducibility, quality, and the quantity of the supply within the stipulated ordered period of time, that's the main concern. So my second speaker will give his thoughts and how to improve upon it. So I'll request Mr. Ganguly to give his talk on the renewable energy sector first. Thank you.
Good evening, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, my friend MSME entrepreneurs. From the morning we were hearing a lot about what industries can do, how MSMEs can get interested. I would like you to take through the journey of solar. Most of us think solar was happening over last 1 decade or so, but it is not true. If you see the history of solar, it is more than 4 decades. People have been working behind the scene, and whatever solar is today, solar power is today, it is because of the hard work people have put on for the last 40, 50 years together. So you can see the journey started in 1966. And it was an initial start. After 20 years, it came into implementations. In 1970s, it had picked up inertia. In 1980, there was various programs concerning utilization of renewable energy sources. And 1990 started the main development of this sector. This is a roadmap where how solar started its journey in 1981, and after the finalization of the Jawaharlal Nehru mission, it picked up the momentum. So this was the evolution of solar. Initially, solar lanterns were into the market, and then solar pumps were there, the street lights were there, solar home lightings were there, and then specific applications, telecom wanted to use solar, railways use solar for signal and telecommunications, Then it came for bigger installation, ground-mounted installation where solar was put into grid connectivity and used as a supplement of coal. Then rooftop project was implemented. Government of India came out with a mission for rooftop projects where net metering was allowed and people were allowed to put up small solar systems on rooftops. And now people are talking about BESS and people are talking about floating solar. So we think that we have utilized a lot of land and we have enough water resources available so we can put solar on those water resources also. So this is the cumulative capacity, what has been built up over years. In 2019, you can see it has crossed 34 and it's still ticking and the figures are going up. What is the benefit of cumulative increase in this graph is that there has been a reduction of tariff. Today the tariff is around 2.5 rupees, which is less than coal. So what benefit we are getting? So now renewable energy or solar energy is trying to take the place of coal energy. Coal-fired plants can be replaced by renewable energy. Is it possible? We will see. Through my presentation, I will take you through. So installation cost has also drastically come down. Now you can see the installation cost is around 3.5 rupees. The graph shows 4 rupees, but currently the trend is 3.5 rupees, 3.5 crores per megawatt. This is the market size which is estimated, where already commissioned is 34, and you can see the different public sectors, private sectors, they're coming into the market and they're trying to develop this area. Now, for my friends who are running MSME organizations over here, so these are I tried to capture some use of solar energy or solar power. It is both thermal and PV. And this is the latest technology which is called solar power plant, which are grid connected nowadays, and they do not require a battery. But again, if you go for a grid connected power plant, you have to have some base load. So base load again has to come from a thermal power plant or a hydro power plant. So these are the components which our MSME friends can think about manufacturing over here in West Bengal, because most of the components are used in all type of solar power plants and they are generally brought from other states of the country. So if you are interested, you can develop these components over here, small components which are very commonly used for some other applications also. And you can have a very good market for this type of components where in this eastern part of the country where solar projects are getting installed. Now, I was talking about rooftop projects. So what is a rooftop project? Rooftop project, solar project is if you have a factory, you can use your roof to install solar modules, and these solar modules generate power for your in-house consumption. So in your factory, you can use the same power and you